that's a decision that they've got to think through how to approach that. Just, all teams do. And one of the theories is if you get yourself in the hunt every year, you give yourself a chance, things can come together and you can have what happened in 2010 or what's happened with, the Eagles last season, or the Eagles when they won it with Nick Foles at quarterback, the Ravens the year that they won it. So part of the thinking is if you always give yourself a chance, things come together, you can do it. Now, it is a tough balance, and there's a real danger if you really go for it and you don't win it, then you've really stuck yourself, because you could be in trouble for the next 3 years, not 3 or 4 years. The Rams, they really went for it. F them picks and all that. I mean, we all know how that went. They did win the Super Bowl. It was by no means a given they were going to win it, but they did. Then they struggled for a while. Now they're back in the hunt, but they're in no better shape than the Packers are, probably not even as good overall, I would say. So that the real risk is if you just go for it, it can completely blow up in your face. So I understand the approach. Gutekunst is a little more of a go for it than Thompson, but it's hard to be less so than Thompson was. So he will do more in free agency. You could argue they could be a little more aggressive those ways, but the NFL is still, and I think we talk about this. We're talking mostly about free agency and doing trades. But this league, you still win mostly by drafting, and the thing is, you got to hit big on some picks. It's hard to do, but you got to hit really big. They need another Edgerrin Cooper quality player. They need to draft another one of those guys, and you have to have some other guys develop into at least almost that good. So still the big thing is the draft. That's why draft and develop. It's been the league's way for forever, and it still is. I probably advocate more their approach than the just go for it approach, because this isn't baseball and you can't just buy championships like the Dodgers do and like the Yankees used to. But I understand your friend's frustration too. But it's, like Ted Thompson used to always say, it's not fantasy football, and there's a lot of truth in that. Basically, the history of the draft is picks miss a lot more than they hit, even in the first round, even in the top 10. But your odds are a lot better in the top 10 than they are in the next 10, than they are in the next 10, than they are in the second round. So, you could be like the Rams in the 90s. They had top 10 picks, it was like 8 or 9 years in a row, and they missed on a bunch of them, but they hit on 3 or 4, and then they found Kurt Warner, and they were the best team in football for a couple of years.
I would add that oftentimes it comes down to having a special player, someone of a generation who's, one of the best players around. I mean, the Packers had Aaron Rodgers for quite a while, and they just, for whatever reason, he was that player. They won a Super Bowl. They should have gone to a Super Bowl in 2013, and they probably should have gone to the Super Bowl in 2020. But certain players make certain plays, and they do. Tom Brady does whatever it takes to get his team, to the next level. And Patrick Mahomes does the same. And you don't see a whole lot of different teams winning the Super Bowl. The best run teams, Philadelphia is in the running because they have probably the best GM in the NFL. He's outstanding in the draft, and he signed Saquon Barkley, and Saquon Barkley ended up being that special player. You have to find one or two special players who just know how to win and put you over the top. And the Packers just have not been able to add whatever addition to Aaron Rodgers or whoever it'll be. And they're hoping Jordan Love is that transcendental player.
The New Orleans Saints were in that same predicament, just much like the Packers. They kicked the can down the road for years on the cap, just trying to squeeze every last ounce of what they could get out of their window. And it backfired remarkably. They're still in cap hell. They're still irrelevant, And they've tried the Derek Carr experiment. That didn't work. So that's the cautionary tale. The league has those where, you know, what it is volume shooting. This is a draft too. As many cracks as you get at the plate, the better your chances go up. Whether it's a season, the draft, you want ops, but kicking the can down the road can definitely backfire.